Welcome CCV Web Development 1151, summer of 2018. My name is John Salzman, and I'm going to show you a bit of my React application for my main page in our class web server. So today I was hoping to kind of go over a couple of bugs I found in the system and to update those to create a before and after for assignment 09 here. So let's open up the application real quick. And I'll increase the size here so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm typing into the terminal npm start, which is one of my scripts that just basically runs the development mode from Webpack. So if I hit enter here, it's going to open up my application, and I can see it in real time right now from the localhost development server. So right now, the first bug I'd like to fix is I have two forms of navigation. One is this menu bar up here that opens up and allows you to switch between the three different pages in the application. And the other is my footer, which I've essentially made as another navigation bar. And basically what happens is when I click on an event in here, or when I use a click event to switch between pages, it'll switch to one of the following three pages, and the buttons will update their name down here. So I can see that the previous page is home, and if I click on it, I go to home. And the previous page to that is actually the third page. So it goes 1, 2, 3, but if I'm on home, the previous is the third. So if I go to about, but again, you'll see these buttons down here update their name as you change pages, and it just helps with the navigation, seeing where you're trying to go. And considering there's only 3 pages, it's nice to have like a very easy set of buttons to navigate. So anyway, these are a little bit decoupled right now through a set of conditional statements, and I thought this was going to be a little bit more tedious to deal with, but I actually solved the bug just a moment ago. It was really just adding too much into one conditional statement where I should have just been changing a certain value. And so I'll show you the error in question here. When I hit about or B and A or home, it's decoupled from the process of adding a name to these previous to next buttons. So when I use this navigation at the top, I lose the naming down here. So if we take a look at my React application, let me give a full refresh here. You'll see down in the footer, or the bottom navigation, when I click on the assignments button on the bottom here, you'll see an update. All those yellow highlights were the updates to certain attributes that I'm passing into these components. And all those attributes flow through, and they change the button IDs, and they change the name in the span element down here. So if I switch to about, we see that the previous page is now assignments. That's correct. The next page is now the home page, and the appropriate name is put towards each span within the buttons. So if I were to use the menu bar and I click home, I want to go back to home, you'll see that those attributes now, let me zoom in again, those attributes are now empty. So one more time, let me refresh, open up my footer component here, and if I use the main navigation to go to the assignments, all those values end up disappearing. So like I said, I thought this was going to be kind of difficult, but it turns out that it was just a bit of Boolean logic in my main app component here. So for changing the view, I have a state update, and in React, basically what happens is there is a state object that is the it's the object for changing or referencing any changes to the page where content should be updated. So in this case, it's pretty simple. It's just what view you're looking at. And I also have this previous page and next page that get updated when the change view method is called upon. So currently I'm looking at where the target class is, or the class name of the event target. So when I click on something, that is the click is the event, or E in this case. Some people will write event, but I just like to keep it simple with E. And then there is target or current target. Target is the specific thing you're clicking on. So if we look at my application, if I click on the button here, that target will be the icon itself. Whereas if I refresh this and I use the current target, it talks about the larger component in general, which is the button, the housing component, so the parent above it. And let's see, switch back over. So what I have here was I added some logic in case, so this method deals with both the menu and the footer components. And so I wanted to make sure I was referencing the difference between the menu buttons and the footer buttons. But for some reason, when I was, rushing through this last week, I included too much of the functionality of this method within this else if statement. So this else if is looking for footer buttons, and it's basically setting the values of those next and previous buttons only when the footer button is clicked. But what I want to happen is, even if the menu buttons up top are clicked, I want this same functionality to happen to those menu buttons, so it updates the footer navigation. So if I just delete this curly bracket right here, which was attached to this else if statement, and I bring it below so that I kind of cut off the else if conditional here and allow the functionality to continue with the rest of this method, and I hit save and it automatically fixes for me there, I should see the previous buttons update now. So if I give a full refresh, let's go back into React. Assignments still works. If I use the footer nav, we're seeing the update in the naming scheme here. And if I hit the before and after, I'm now also getting the names come up. So cool. That was the fix for my navigation error here with the menu bar. And the next video will be about an error I get with the loading, the slow timeout loading of each of these before and afters. All right.